Everyone, welcome to Living and Learning. I'm Allison Kinnear. Every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we hop on and we talk about living and learning. And I don't know about you, but I have been hitting the wall. And what I can see from Facebook and other people in my life, you might be hitting the wall too. And if that is you, if you are just like done with the sheltering in place, if you are done with coronavirus, if you are done having things be the way they are, this is for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little story about me, and we're going to talk about some tools. So Sunday afternoon, I had basically worked all weekend. I was in an amazing training, and as soon as I got off the training, oh, hello, Christy, welcome. As soon as I got off the training, I was wiped out, tired. And because I was in the training all weekend, the usual things that I do for self-care on the weekend didn't happen because I was super focused on something new. And we're all going to have these experiences where work pulls us, or our kids pull us, or something pulls our attention. So our usual routine to kind of be okay gets interrupted. And from Sunday until a Tuesday morning, I was not good. I was in not a good state. I was angry. I was super irritable. I was frustrated with everyone and everything. The things that normally would not bother me were like nails on a chalkboard. And the thing about this kind of state is that when you're in it, you kind of can't remember life being not that way. It's hard to remember that you like the people around you and there are other things, there are gifts in your life. It's just when the darkness sets in, when you've hit that wall, everything can feel like it's going to be that way forever, and it's going to be terrible, and it's never going to get better. And conversely, when you're out of that, when you have bounced back, it's hard to even remember how dark and how heavy and how difficult life can feel. So as I was in it, I kept trying to, I know a couple of things. One, I know I'm in it because I'm running on empty. I'm too tired. I'm too hungry. I'm too whatever. There's something usually in my physical body that I am not taking care of enough, which makes my energy run on empty, which puts me into that place. So that's one thing. The other thing that I realized is that, yes, I had a lot of anger and I was allowing myself to be in my anger, but I couldn't quite get out of it. I couldn't quite budge the anger. And I couldn't quite budge it until someone sent me a link to a song called 6 Feet Apart, and it's by Luke Combs, I believe. It's a country song, but it's an amazing song. And it's very simple, and it's just about being 6 feet apart and how hard it is. And as soon as the lyrics started, all of my anger just turned to tears. And this is the power of music. This is the power of music as a tool to help us, because oftentimes the mad covers up the sad. That when we're angry, what we're actually feeling is sadness. And if we don't allow ourselves to feel our anger, if we don't allow ourselves to invite the sadness in, we can get stuck for a long time. I saw a meme recently on social media that said, a minute of anger robs you of 60 seconds of happiness. And what I want to say to that is, yes, but a minute of denying your anger can cause hours of disconnection and just numbing behaviors. So while anger can rob us of happiness, we can't skip over anger, because anger is either using us as a catalyst to promote change, or it might be there because it's covering up some deeper kind of sadness. And so I sat with my sadness. I cried. I'm making breakfast crying. My husband comes downstairs and he's like, what's happening? I'm like, I don't even have words. I don't even know what I am upset about. See, this is the thing. When you've hit the wall, let me just give you full permission. You don't need a reason to be angry. You don't need a reason to be sad. You don't need a reason to be cranky and irritable and teary and weepy and anything else. It just is. And we have to stop assuming that there's always going to be a reason. Of course, there's a reason. We're stuck. We're in this shelter in place, this horrible virus, people's lives being lost. Like, there's so many things to be upset about that we can't necessarily say, well, today my anger stems from, whatever. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the feelings are there. We feel them. We get through them, right? And as soon as I was able to kind of like have some tears and be in my space, my kids hit their wall. And I realized that we all have been numbing ourselves with too much TV, too much sugar. That has been happening for myself as the mom and my kids. And that also wasn't helping our situation. It was like being too tired, lack of self-care situation, too much numbing with sugar and TV, like all of those factors just kind of like built up to this complete hitting the wall thing. And so then in the midst of my tantrum, the kids had their own tantrum. And, just like we need someone to hold space for us, it was time to hold space for them to be able to have their emotions. And I ended up playing the song. I was like, hey, I want to, after many meltdowns, this was not my first strategy, because they needed to be angry. They needed to be crying. They needed to throw things and hit things. They needed to express their anger and rage without hurting someone in their own way. And then once the sadness came, I played the song and we sat there and listened to it. And it's so funny because one of the lyrics is, I miss my mom, I miss my dad. And my daughter astutely shared how much she does not miss me or dad, but the rest of the song was great because our kids are struggling because they don't have their friends. And we also don't have our friends. And so that night I ended up reaching out to some of my girlfriends that live near me, and said, I think I need a driveway talk. I just need to come and sit on somebody's driveway and cry. Now, mind you, do I like crying? No. Do I want to cry, especially in front of other people? No. This is not what I want to be doing. I have stuff to do that I want to do, but I can't do that stuff until I do this. And so they all said, yeah, let's do it. And I went there and I cried. It's like, even thinking about it, like, brings up the tears. It's still fresh, right? We're still hitting the wall. But the reason why I share the story with you is because these are all the things that we can do. We can make sure we're feeding our bodies food that doesn't turn us into assholes later on. We can move our bodies more. Yesterday, the sun was out and I went out into the garden, and boy, it's amazing what a difference that makes. We can make sure we're keeping up with our self-care routines, because if we don't, we do our self-care routines and then we're like, okay, I'm good. But once we let that fall, look, you realize how important those routines are. They're non-negotiables. So we keep up with those as much as we can. We invite music to come in to break apart our anger, to get into our sadness. We cry. We allow our children to be angry and sad and cry, and we reach out even when we don't want to. This is not easy work. This is not like you're in the depths of the despair, you're angry, you're pissed, you're sad, and you're like, oh, it's so easy. I'll just reach out to someone. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's so worth it. So I encourage you, whatever the thing may be that's going to break you open so that you can get out of hitting the wall. Because my guess is this is not going to be the first time we hit the wall. We're going to hit the wall now. We're going to hit the wall, whenever. Few weeks, few months, few days down the road, few hours down the road. It's going to happen again. And so the issue is not like to prevent it from happening. The issue is what do you do when it is happening? How do you bounce back? Because why do we fall? Why do we fall? We fall so we can get back up. So when we hit the wall, the important part is that we take care of ourselves so we can get back up. And then that wall hitting will feel more like a distant memory rather than a current day reality. So that is what I leave you with. I'm going to see everybody. Yes to Mad covering up the sad. Yes, Christy, and love your haircut. Thank you, Lindsay. It is a quarantine classic, and it's starting to grow out, which I'm grateful for. I just got thinning shears. I just learned the magic of thinning shears. So I'm going to practice with that. You might see that coming up too. And yes, self-care is so, so important. Exercise is my meditation for sure. This is moving our bodies, especially since we're at home. We're not doing all those little movements, walking to the car, walking from the car to the building, walking from the building back to the car. Like, we're not doing those things. And so it really makes a difference when we can. And the thing that we can do so easily is go, well, I can't do the things that I usually do to take care of myself. I can't do those things. But the question I invite you to ask yourself is, how can I? It might be different than the way you had done it before, but how can I? My kids were missing their friends, and a how can I question turned into, we can make movies together. We can do it from 6 feet apart while social distancing. I'll record you. I was the recording people, right? Like, we can still do things. We can just do them in a different way. If you would like more tips, I'm going to be sharing one of my most favorite tools in the VIP pass. It is $5 for a month of amazing content. If you are interested in that, I will put a link so that you can sign up. But one of my favorite tools around what to do when you've hit the wall is going into that forum. Like I said, it's $5 a month, not that much for really great tools. I wish you a wonderful week of living and learning and recovering should you be hitting the wall. And I'll see you next week. Take care.